Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Manish Shrestha, working as Assistant Professor at Haryana School of Business, GJ University of Science and Technology, Hisar. Today, we are going to discuss about the topic performance monitoring. Before starting the discussion, let's have a look at the contents. The discussion will start with the introduction of the topic, followed by understanding performance monitoring, objectives of performance monitoring, methods of performance monitoring, process of performance monitoring, a topic of annual stock taking, and in the end we will have summary of the discussion. By the end of this module, students will be able to understand the relevance of the performance monitoring in a business organization and get familiar with the role of performance monitoring in the appraisal system. An important component of performance management process is performance monitoring. Performance in an organization is directly related to its employees. If the employees are performing well, organization would achieve its objectives. In order to ascertain whether the employees are working effectively and efficiently, evaluation of their work performances is must. Such evaluation constitutes performance appraisal system. Through performance appraisal, we can assess the productivity, effectiveness, quality and timeliness of an employee's output. If an employee is found good on the above criteria of performance measurement, then we can tag him as a good performer. But the employees do not perform well all the time in all situations. A mechanism is required to keep a check on the performance of the employees at the time of performing a task and after the appraisal. Performance monitoring is generally considered as one of the most important component of an ongoing performance management process. It is the process of making correct and quantifiable observations based on the comparison of actual and expected outcomes of performance as mentioned in the performance appraisal with the purpose to improve the performance of employees. It accommodates the fulfillment of learning and training requirements as highlighted during the performance appraisal. Performance monitoring allows assigning improved methods and techniques for delivering performance. It also permits to redefine the performance criteria to be used as performance standard. And finally, it allows accommodating necessary changes in the system arising due to changing business scenario. The process of monitoring involves identification of gaps in planned and actual performance, thoroughly discuss and develop improvement plans, and demands employees' commitment in terms of adherence to incorporating agreed upon performance improvement steps. Just as performance appraisals are expected to achieve various developmental goals, performance monitoring exercise is also important to ensure that the whole system of performance management is working effectively and efficiently. Generally, performance appraisal systems are well thought of and properly designed. Still, many times the performance management system fails to provide the desired results. The major reason behind this is too much focus on planning and too less concentration at the time of implementation. To remove such kind of mistakes in the organization, a tool is required which can observe and assess the ongoing performance and provide solution to a timely recovery from any deviation between expected and actual performances. Performance monitoring enables to create an environment of continuous learning and development in the organization. Few of the characteristics of performance monitoring are: performance monitoring activity is performed as an outcome of performance appraisal. It is an instrument to keep the employee focused towards achievement of performance as per the performance planning stage decisions. Performance monitoring is not a one-time activity. The ongoing nature of this activity enables it to provide opportunities to the employees to keep a track on their performance and eventually taking corrective action in order to deliver the performance as per the expectations. Another characteristic is, through performance monitoring process, employees would know about the current condition of their performance related outcomes. They could also get aware about the areas of deficiency. Once the gaps are identified, employees could opt for a suitable training and development program. Performance monitoring equips the employees to take advantage of career development opportunities. Performance monitoring enables achievement of organizational and individual goals. It is possible through continuous monitoring and follow-up system. It builds up the bonding between management and employees. The line managers responsible for effective implementation of performance appraisal system lacks in their effort due to presence of certain situations such as culture of open communication does not exist in the organization. There is no short-term visible impact of ignoring this activity. Organizations fail to develop a culture where performances of others could be discussed and improved. Lack of time for conducting the activity and lack of proper system and guidelines to monitor and report the performance related information. Performance monitoring is a tool to measure various activities that are the part of performance management systems, which can affect the performance of an employee working in the direction of enhancing the organizational performance. Performance monitoring system involves analysis of results in order to ensure that assigned task has been completely successfully completed, task effectiveness in terms of accuracy, contribution of activities towards performance improvement, measures adopted for improvement in performance, and development of performance-based culture in the organization. The purpose of performance monitoring is not to intrude but to provide a true picture about the success of performance management system in the organization. The monitoring of implementation should be done comprehensively and regularly till it gets inculcated in the culture of the organization. The major objectives of performance monitoring are to support appraiser and the employee under appraisal in understanding and implementing the system. It provides guidance and valuable inputs to plan the performance, analyze, get it reviewed, and extraction of valuable data-based information. Next objective is to build up the recognition of performance planning analysis through analyzing data and offering feedback at respective departmental level. Then, to act as a reminder mechanism for the employees that are supposed to work for heightened performances. A continuous use of performance monitoring makes employees accustomed to the requirement of system and starts delivering performance at the desired level. The constant pressure to work better, when it becomes a habit, employees would be able to manage their time well. Another objective is to offer opportunities to the employees of the organization in relation to get required training, acquire proper learning, and take advantages of development situations. To contribute towards improving individual job performances. To ensure the effectiveness of performance measurement methods through inculcating suitable changes. To reconsider the ways in which performance is understood and its criteria decided. It is done at the performance planning stage for both individuals and groups. To keep a check on the commitment and involvement level of employees in order to increase the acceptability of information they would receive through feedback. To act as a change agent in order to adjust the performance management system as per the requirement of dynamic external environment. Performance monitoring is helpful to an organization in more than one ways. It provides mechanisms to improve on the existing performance management system. It helps in reviewing and rectifying the performance on a regular basis to keep the results on the right track. Performance monitoring helps in identifying performance gaps and ways to improve the performance on a continuous basis. It provides an opportunity to an employee to exploit his full potential. Monitoring the performance helps the organization in providing accurate, objective, and balanced feedback to the employee. Performance monitoring is also a way to show the employees that how important you and your work are for the success of organization. Performance management is a joint effort made by individuals and teams to achieve the performance related goals of the organization. The goals would be achieved only when its human resource is productive. In order to keep a check on the progress in productivity of the employees, performance monitoring is conducted. There are few methods that could be adopted for monitoring purposes. These methods are through contacting individuals. In order to inquire about the status of implementation in the organization, individuals are contacted. Interview is a common method that is being adopted to collect the required information. During the interview, guidance is provided to an individual wherever the interviewer feels so. The interviewer could be any suitable person from the human resource department. To get the maximum out of this exercise, it is suggested to interview all the concerned individuals. In case the number of employees exceeds the feasible limit, a random sample could be taken for the interview. The individuals should be informed in advance about the interview so that they could adjust their time to provide vital information in a relaxed environment. Secondary data analysis. Interviewing everyone in the organization is a time-consuming process. There exists certain secondary source through which important information could be extracted. Then these information can be analyzed for monitoring purposes. Forms are such secondary source of information. Various forms filled by employees clearly provide information about the major difficulties employees are facing in the proper implementation of the system. The data collected from different departments could be compiled and analyzed in the light of expected deliverables of the system. It could also be checked whether any of the department is missing on any of the key area of performance. The compilation of data enables to find out the most prominent bottleneck and area of deficiency, topic of training, and area of development for the employees. Special task groups. Another method to monitor the performance is to create small task groups at the ground level. Such task groups are given free hand to establish their own mechanism to monitor the performance. When line managers become part of such task groups, the employees get a clear message about the seriousness of the organization in conducting monitoring activity. It helps to build the performance-oriented culture in the organization. Review meetings. A very common method to monitor the performance of the employee is to conduct a review meeting at departmental level. Review meetings are aimed at collective effort in improving the performance. Each department in the consultation with its members pre-schedule review meeting at regular intervals. All the members of the department assemble on a pre-decided day to discuss the progress and hurdles related to the performance. Every employee is expected to discuss at these review meetings. Generally, frequently occurring bottlenecks are discussed and efforts are made to provide a solution to them. Another method is survey. The common method used by organizations to collect information for the purpose of monitoring is to conduct surveys using questionnaire. Depending upon the requirement, the questionnaire is designed to cover a single aspect comprehensively or many aspects simultaneously. These questionnaires are sent to all the employees to get their responses. Presence of anonymity element at the time of submitting a questionnaire facilitates the accurate expression of feelings, reactions, and perceptions. Many times, mentioning the name of the employee is compulsory in order to provide a proper and timely feedback. It also helps in resolving employee-specific problems. Another method says about presentations. Presentation is very similar to the interview method. In this method, employees give presentation to the line manager or departmental head about the activities performed for implementing the performance management in the organization. Then, these managers conduct a review and identify the areas creating hurdles and pushing progress. In order to implement performance monitoring in the organization, a step-by-step process need to be followed. The broad steps involved in performance monitoring are gap identification, discussion feedback planning, ensuring commitment, performance monitoring documentation. Gap identification. During the appraisal period, a manager needs to consult the performance plan with the employees on a regular basis. The discussion about the performance plan aims to make the employees aware about the expected level of performance that needs to be delivered. It also enables the employees to foresee that on what basis and how the performance would be assessed. Through implementing an effective performance appraisal system, actual performance is compared with the pre-decided level of performance. It also identifies the strengths, areas of improvement, areas of development, target performance level for the next appraisal cycle. As there exist many factors to be monitored, a manager has to take decision on what needs to be monitored. After that, a procedure is defined about the way of obtaining the data regarding the identified monitoring factors. With the help of performance appraisal, vital information related to various aspects of performance could be gathered. This information acts as an input for identification of performance gaps. At this stage, it is important for a manager to consider all the factors that might have an impact on the performance of an employee. Also, the direction and magnitude of the impact on the performance needs to be considered. Discussion, feedback, and planning. After getting a fair idea about the areas of strength and improvement, the next task for a manager is to develop a mechanism to share this information with the respective employees. The purpose of sharing the performance related information is to get the involvement of employee in the performance monitoring activity. With the cooperation of the employee, performance progress is monitored, reviewed, and audited. Only after this step, the performance feedback is discussed with the employee. It is very important to understand that performance feedback is not only telling what has been done or should have been done. It is related to make an employee aware about how he is performing and what would be the impact of such performance on the employee in days to come. Also, impact of performance of an employee is discussed in context to team and organization. Employee feedback is crucial for the success of performance management system. If not handled properly, it could lead to frustration among employees and eventually poor performance. Feedback should not be seen as a negative thing used to control the future behavior of an employee. On the other hand, a feedback should be constructive and seen in positive light. Feedback helps in enhancing self-esteem, help in gaining better insight about experiences, performances, and awareness. A clear feedback is instrumental in producing better performances in future. Feedback must be backed by a follow-up. A proper follow-up signals the employee about the seriousness of the issue and helps in improving the performance. For creating an effective feedback mechanism, certain essentials need to be considered. These are: a culture needs to be developed that takes the feedback as a positive mechanism. Culture is created, acceptability of feedback also increases. Feedback accepted and implemented with a positive frame of mind ensures improvement in performance. The purpose of using feedback must be clear to everyone. The purpose could be to develop the employee for handling future challenges or take a decision related to career and reward. When employee gets an opportunity to compare the multi-source assessment with the self-assessment, clarity comes into the mind of the employee about the reality. Getting exposed to the realistic assessment helps the employee in accepting the feedback in a positive way. Before exercising feedback mechanism in the organization, all the people involved in the process needs to be trained. Providing an effective feedback requires special skills to balance the expectation of management and employee. A joint effort is required by the appraiser and the employee under appraisal to develop a better feedback mechanism. Both the parties are expected to provide their valuable input for improvement in the system. During a feedback, a manager has to encourage and support the employee's concerns for security, identity, and self-respect. A manager also needs to carve out a path of development through resolving all the hurdles facing an employee in relation to delivery of performance. Ensuring commitment. Once the performance plan is finalized and everything else is in place, it is important to ensure the commitment level of employees for adherence to what they have decided and agreed upon. Highly committed employees make monitoring an easy and fruitful process. Performance monitoring documentation. Being the part of performance management, performance monitoring also requires certain documentation. These documentation involves providing feedback on performance, joint action plan agreement for performance improvement, comparison chart depicting agreed and actual performance, review reports for the purpose of sharing with the employees, documents related to warning for not performing on regular basis, and document related to disciplinary action for not showing any sign of improvement. Another important related concept is annual stock taking. It is a subset of performance audit function. It is a periodic effort to check the extent of work done and learning chances availed by the employee over the year. It helps the employees in identifying the gaps that could have been filled. It provides a basis for future planning of learning and training. Any kind of modification in planned and assigned tasks could also be done through annual stock taking. Annual stock taking facilitates a realistic assessment of an employee's future development requirements. To summarize, performance monitoring is generally considered as one of the most important components of an ongoing performance management process. It is the process of making correct and quantifiable observations based on the comparison of actual and expected outcomes of performance as mentioned in the performance appraisal with the purpose to improve the performance of employees. It accommodates the fulfillment of learning and training requirements as highlighted during the performance appraisal. Performance monitoring allows assigning improved methods and techniques for delivering performance. It also permits to redefine the performance criteria to be used as performance standard. And finally, it allows accommodating necessary changes in the system arising due to changing business scenario. Performance monitoring is helpful to an organization in more than one ways. It provides mechanisms to improve on the existing performance management system. It helps in reviewing and rectifying the performance on a regular basis to keep the results on the right track. Performance monitoring helps in identifying performance gaps and ways to improve the performance on a continuous basis. It also provides an opportunity to an employee to exploit his full potential. Monitoring the performance helps the organization in providing accurate, objective and balanced feedback to the employee. Happy learning!